welcome to this latest episode of Smooth Like Extra Butter Criminal Undercover. I'm going to remix that for us. Anyway, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us as we discuss Cinderella, starring Camila. I can never say her name right. Camila Cabello, Billy Porter, and Idina Menzel in this modern update on the classic fairy tale brought to life by the same people who brought us Pitch Perfect. In this version, Cinderella is a modern feminist who has her own ideas about what happily ever after looks like. So, Tammy, was this version of Cinderella a fairy tale or a nightmare?
It was a fairy tale.
You liked it?
I did. I loved it. But
Oh,
I'm a Disney princess fan. So usually and I'm the old school one. So Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Ariel, like all of those. So I was very, very excited when I heard that they were doing Cinderella. I didn't care who was playing Cinderella. I didn't care. Like, I just knew I was going to watch it. So I was excited, and it did not disappoint. They did a good job. I love the whole bringing in modern music into it. I love the twist at the end that they did, where it's not just her falling for Prince Charming and giving up her whole life for him, but instead he gives up his life in order to help her achieve her dream. So yeah, definitely, I definitely enjoyed it.
okay. I was more excited. We all know how I feel about musicals. I was more excited when I saw that they were going to be putting a twist on modern music. So I did like that. I liked most of the songs that they used. But I kind of felt like I was watching a Cinderella musical of Pitch Perfect. Like the Pitch Perfect people were not like were back in college and they were doing a version of Cinderella like fundraising, if that makes sense. So and it's
Damn.
fitting because it comes from the people who made Pitch Perfect. So but yeah, it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I was just like, oh, okay, it's cute, I guess. So I did like how they modernized it, how she was more or less a feminist. I have mixed feelings about the twist at the end. We can get to that. One thing that really truly disappointed me though is that the Fab Godmother, Billy Porter, needed more screen time. And then you think about Cinderella in the story itself. The fairy godmother or the Fab Godmother did not get a lot of screen time. But I was just like, because it's Billy Porter, he needed more screen time to me. So.
Oh, so it's because it was Billy Porter, not because the Fab Godmother needed more screen time, just the actor who played it.
Yes,
because the
no.
Godmother never has a whole
yeah, that's
a whole
what I'm saying.
bunch of screen time. They come in and then they leave.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I know the godmother doesn't have a whole bunch of screen time generally in Cinderella, but yes, because of who this Fab Godmother was, I think that needed a little bit more screen time. But the outfit, everything was amazing. So that was one of the highlights for me. Was that scene? I loved it. I love James Corden. I did not know he. I don't. I guess I never really paid much attention because Idina Menzel. Um, Billy Porter and Camila Cabello, they were the main ones getting all the attention. But I knew Corden was a producer. I just didn't know he would be making an appearance in it. So that was pretty cool. Him as the rat.
Yeah, I like the whole the mouse thing. All three of them
Yeah.
were really. I like the pessimistic one. Who was really, really great. Like, he kept the realism of it. Like, they would say something ridiculous and he'd be like, really? And then the other two kind of like discovering who they were or whatever, as humans, or however that goes. But yeah, that was cute. That was a cute part.
Yeah. Oh no. And the funniest one was like when they were at the ball and James Corden was like, "Do you know how we pee now?" And they're like, "Yes, it comes out of the front tail." So it was cute. It was, considering it was a musical, and for some reason when I first heard it was going to be released, it did not cross my mind that they were going to live action. I guess I just never live action and musical doesn't go hand in hand to me anymore. So I didn't think of it as being a musical. Then when I found out it was a musical, I was like, eh. But then when I found out it was they were going to do the twist on modern music, I was intrigued. So I have to say they did pull that off very well with a very deep homage to Pitch Perfect. But, so what was some of your other favorite things about this? Did you like the casting? Even though you said you didn't care, how do you think Camila Cabello did as Cinderella?
She was all right. She was better than Addison Rae.
Oh my God.
My bad, y'all. I'm still
Yes.
having
If you
flashbacks.
want to know
Having
her opinions
flashbacks,
about,
y'all.
if you want to
PTSD,
know her
baby.
opinions, yeah. If you want to know her opinions about Addison Rae, please go listen to the He's All That episode 237 of the OG podcast on the Popcorn Wind Down. That is a plug. I snuck a plug in the extra butter, y'all.
Look at you.
Being all
But
professional and shit. But you were saying, go ahead. What were you saying?
no, I think she did good. She has a raspy voice, and sometimes it annoys me, and then other times like I'm good. It depends on the song that she sings. Like there are certain times where like I don't think her voice necessarily went with certain songs within the movie, but overall I was satisfied with her role. I actually liked her character as Cinderella. Oh yeah, I'm very very surprised. Very very surprised. I To be honest, I'm a huge fan of the whole Cinderella thing, but I did not have high hopes. I just knew I had to watch it because it was Cinderella. So I was pleasantly surprised on how much I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I I'm not a huge fan. Like to me, she's one of those people that I listen to her if there's a song, if she's getting a lot of pub for one particular song, then I may go listen to the song, or just in my quest to discover new music and new artists, I'll listen. But I found she's very hit or miss with me, like you said, as far
Mm-hmm.
as her singing goes. I do now. She can sing, and I do like her voice. I just don't think they found necessarily her voice. Like she doesn't always sing the right songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what like, and I agree with that. That's what I was trying to say. Like, it's not to say that there weren't some songs that really went with her voice, but not every song went with her voice. She has a little bit of a distinct voice, and so she's not. It's not the word's not universal. Maybe it is. Is it? Like
Yeah,
all around. Like she doesn't have a voice where anything that she sings, I'm gonna be like, yo, she's hitting that
yeah,
note every time.
yeah,
Like that's not the type of singer that she is. Not to say she's not a good singer. She's just not that type of singer where she can sing anything and do amazingly well with it every single time. But I was satisfied with her singing. But then again, she was with powerhouses as well. So we have to also look at that. Like Adina Menzel. I mean, come on now. Like that's a diva. Like
yeah.
Billy
Like she
Porter,
can take,
diva. Like.
yeah, like Adina Menzel can take any song and make it her own. And
Yes.
because we don't live in New York, and I love Broadway musicals. I think my first real introduction to Adina Menzel was when she was on Glee, and she played Rachel's biological mother.
Mm-hmm.
And they did Poker Face. They
Ah, yep.
turned that song out. Like I love, and it's Gaga. I love that version. I love the Glee version of Poker Face so much better. I love it even better than the original. Like
Ooh.
she blew the roof off of it. So she can take any song and make it her own. So that's just how I feel about Idina Menzel. And like I said, it's a Gaga song. So for her to do that, but I'm with you. I wasn't, I'm not a big fan of Camila Cabello, so I was lukewarm on the whole thing, honestly. It was going to get watched just because, I didn't have to go to the movies to watch it. It was on the list. Billy Porter's in it. So I was like, okay, Idina Menzel, whatever. I could watch it, whatever. Um, and I did like the performances. I agree with you with some of the songs. Um, but and as far as her, she didn't really do anything to stand out to me as Cinderella. Like it, you could have filled her in with any pop star, any actress who has a good voice and who can sing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't do anything to just make Cinderella her. To Am I making sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she was good in the role. She was serviceable. She was, I don't necessarily know that, she needs to get the Addison Rae treatment again and get a multi-picture deal from Netflix or Amazon or anything like that.
Yo,
But
I will take Amazon Prime. You best to give her a multi-picture deal because she did a better job than Addison Rae, and Addison Rae got a whole deal from Netflix.
yeah, so, but so Billy Porter, Idina Menzel, great. I don't know. What did you think about the dude that was playing Prince Charming? I don't know his name. I don't know who he is. I thought he was cute.
You thought he was cute?
Yeah.
You
He
did?
wasn't just he wasn't just like, oh my God, drop dead gorgeous cute, but he was cute. I have a thing for Brits.
So you
His,
think he's cute
his
because he was a Brit?
Yeah, I think he's cute. Like he wasn't just like, he wasn't just like, I got it, but he was cute. He wasn't ugly. He was cute.
Oh, okay. I'll agree with you. He wasn't ugly. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all I gotta say. He wasn't ugly.
Okay,
That's it.
how was that?
Okay. So I'm gonna be very shallow.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Be very, very shallow right here and say that whenever he was singing, I couldn't focus on anything because he has a huge mouth.
Why? Why me? Why?
I'm so sorry. But it really was. Like, even when I watched it 2 other times, every time he was on the screen and he started singing, like, I think he was fine when he was just talking. When he would start singing, I'd be like, oh my God, his mouth is huge. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The
But
jokes
other
just
than
write
that, I
themselves,
mean,
but I'm trying to behave myself. I am really, really trying.
okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me get out of the gutter. I apologize. He can sing. I liked his performance. I think, but it's so funny because like my favorite scene from him, his name was Nicholas. I can't say his last name, but his first name was Nicholas. My favorite scene is when when they're in the I want to say the living room, but that's not what it's called. What is anyway? So they're in like whatever the living room or whatever that fancy name for palaces is, and he's talking to the woman who he's supposed to be getting married to. He's supposed to be getting engaged to, and she's talking about like, he can have all this land all the way up to the sea monster at the bottom, and then she's like, oh well, I mean, what else do you have to do? It's not like you're that busy because and he's just like, oh, it's so hard. I forgot what they were catching or something like that, right? And then his friend behind him says, it's not that hard, and he throws something at him. I thought that was the most genuine moment ever. Is when like he turns around and they start going back and forth, and then he turns and he fixes himself, and then he pretends like he's been professional the whole time. Like, I don't know why, but I love that scene from him. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm still on the my bad. What did you think of him, Eddie?
I told you, I thought he was cute. Him opening his big ass mouth didn't bother me. I honestly did not pay attention to how big it was. I was just
But
surprised.
I bet you
Damn,
if you ever see another
that
scene from
sounds
that movie, you're gonna
so
notice it.
bad. I didn't pay attention how big it was. That's what she said. Shut up! See what you see, y'all? It's her fault. Okay, yeah, I know y'all think Eddie is the one who always cusses, and Eddie's the one who's always got her mind in the gutter. My mind was not in the gutter until Tammy
Oh
took
my
it there, and she knows that once it's there, it's hard to come out. I try to be professional. I try to be professional, and
I was just giving an honest take of where my mind was as I was watching his scenes.
his big mouth.
His
Bet you
big
like the
mouth.
way it works. Never mind. See. Okay.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Okay, so I liked Nicholas. Good, yeah. I'm not gonna butcher his last name, but I
Yeah,
liked him
his
too.
last
I
name's
I thought
ridiculous.
I was surprised at how well he could sing. Because I'd never
Do you
heard
know
of
he's been in
him.
anything else? Has he been in anything we possibly watched?
Um, let's
Or
see.
is he just a Brit actor?
No, he hasn't been in anything really that we've watched. I think maybe most of it would be overseas, and it looks like he's done a lot of episodes of television shows.
Oh, he
He
was
was
in
in.
The Craft.
Oh yeah, see, I didn't watch that. He was in
What?
Legends. I watched the original one. He was in the original Craft
Of course he
or the
wasn't in the
remake.
original. He wasn't even
Oh
born.
no, I didn't watch. No, no. But so yeah, but I did like that scene. I liked when she went out after that scene when she went out and she was like, "There's not much upstairs and probably downstairs either." And
She
then she
knows what
looked
I'm
at the one.
talking
She goes,
about.
and she knows what I'm talking about. And I was like, "Oh shit."
No, and so I will say that I like that. Like even the scene where he and his best friend are going back and forth, right? And then he was just like, "Well, I'm your best friend. I'm your best friend, right?" And he was like, "I mean, like I have a lot of friends." And then he looked at him and he looked so sad. He was like, "But yeah, you're my best friend." And then his friend was like, "I knew it." And he was like, "Beautiful human." And I was like, "Oh, it's so cute." Like there were like little moments like that where I was just like, that is adorable.
Yeah, it it was cute. I'm not gonna say it was a horrible movie. It was a cute movie. There were scenes. There were definitely scenes where it's just like, oh, and I think, how do I say this? I hate that they made him an idiot. And it to me it kind of played against the message of the film. Like we saw where um she didn't have to give it, she having it all or trying to have it all didn't mean she had to make the choice between her dream man and her dream job and her career, and I got that. But to me, making him such an idiot was a disservice. If he, it was like, oh, you kind of saw it was coming because he wasn't fit to be king. Like, okay, if you have no interest in just being king, why can't you just be a regular person or a smart guy and have no interest in being the king? Um, I did not like the fact that that they made him an idiot. That
I
just
didn't
kind
think
of
he was
turned me
an
off.
idiot. I thought he was I thought he was naive. He just kind of went along with whatever was, there, whatever the king said. I thought that he was naive on how the real world worked, but I thought that was more of where his mindset was. I also thought like he was young-minded in that he never got responsibility. So if you don't give him responsibility on how to run a country, then he doesn't have to act responsible. So I thought he was just a typical like dude bro, just hanging out and doing whatever he wanted, partying all the time. But I did see moments of like him stepping up when he needed to, right? As he got to learn that the world was not what you thought it was outside of your bubble. I mean, we do realize that his sister was the smartest one, but I didn't think he was an idiot. More, he was very naive and very like he was able to party and everything like that because he always knew the crown was his. So he never actually put in any effort to learn the job because he knew he was automatically going to get it.
I agree with that part, but I still say he was an idiot. Like just the way they treated him, just the way they made him seem like he was an idiot. I get having fun and I get the whole, oh, I don't have to take this too seriously. But it seemed like that even if he would have ever had to take it too seriously, he would not have had any clue as to what to do. So I just didn't like that part about him. So they could, like I said, they could have found other ways for him to resist the crown, just by the fact that they alluded to that he would never really truly be capable of taking over the job. That's his sister, and I one thing I did love about him is I loved his relationship with his sister, even though it seemed like they didn't really like each other. I love that he gave her the dress, because it's like when he bought her dress, it's like, what are you gonna do with that, you know? And you thought maybe he would just take it to and hang it up somewhere, but the fact that he gave it to his sister, that was really sweet to me. I thought that was a cute moment. Um, and what did you think about his parents? Pierce Brosnan and Mimi, I can't say her name, Minnie
Mini
Driver.
Driver.
I was having a moment. Yeah, Minnie Driver.
I love Mini Driver. Sometimes you forget that she can actually sing. But I love Minnie Driver. Like she was awesome. Pierce Brosnan, I mean, he's alright. He's alright. But I loved his mother. I love Queen Beatrice. She was awesome on like kind of in the end putting her husband in his place, and you realizing that he really did love her. They really did love each other, but he was just so wrapped up in I'm king, so whatever I say goes, and you are insignificant because I'm king, and you're just queen just because I married you, kind of thing. And once he realized the consequences of that kind of attitude, he had to wake up and change his ways.
Oh yeah, like where he was. I always sense that he loved her. I just also sense that he got so caught up in tradition that he forgot. Like yeah, I guess like what you said, he was so used to being king that he kind of forgot that hey, this woman is the love of my life, and the things that he took for granted, and the things that she kind of just let slide as the queen. And I guess that's also kind of what I have an issue with is even though I'm glad his sister finally becomes the next in line, it was like, well, why couldn't they make it that Cinderella do a truly different twist? And I guess maybe it wasn't what she wanted, but why can't she be queen and still have her own little dress shop? That's where I thought it was heading. Like once they got married, she would still have her dress shop or something like that. So I don't know. That to me, I guess the whole take on the monarchy and that she couldn't still be queen and have what she wanted was in that kind of. But the fact that they got a female queen who was truly probably the best person for the job also, you know. So like I said, I had mixed feelings about it. It was a catch-22 for me.
What was your favorite song?
Um,
Did you have one? This question.
yeah, I liked the Rhythm Nation. They remixed Rhythm Nation with. Um,
Is it
or
like
what
Got
song
to
did
Be or
they?
something like that?
Yeah, I like that one. What else? Let's see. What else did I like? I like the song that they did when they did. Oh, I liked "Am I Wrong," but I like the song that they did. Oh yeah, Rhythm Nation, you gotta be. And then I liked oh, What a Man in Seven Nation Army. That was it. That was my favorite. I like
Yeah,
that
that was mine
mashup.
too. Like I like purposely I wrote that down. I was like, what a man, seven Nation Army. Like that was an awesome, awesome performance. Like even the part where like they're going through it and then her stepsisters come in and be like, cause I want to have your baby. And I was just like, oh my God, that's awesome, but yet so like, what? It was great. And the funny thing
Yeah.
is, I did not know that this was from the same people that did Pitch Perfect. So I didn't have that same feeling because I didn't know about that whole background of it. I just like thought it was really, really cool on how they would kind of mix some, two songs together and everything like that. It didn't even come into my head that it was the same like concept as Pitch Perfect. Maybe it's been too long since I watched Pitch Perfect. I got to get on that. But I just like really enjoyed like the same concept as Pitch Perfect because it's one of my favorite movies. So yeah.
Yeah. It let's see, did I know it was the same Pitch Perfect people? I think I looked it up because I was like, I don't know that I can't honestly say that I remembered that it was the same people who did Pitch Perfect before I watched it. But once I start watching it, I'm like, oh gosh, I was just having Pitch Perfect flashbacks, and there it just seemed too like I remember thinking, God, I feel like I'm watching the people of Pitch Perfect in their college acapella or their college glee club put on a production of Cinderella. And then as the credits were playing or something, I was like, oh, that's why, because Kay Cannon directed and wrote Pitch Perfect too, and she did the same thing for this. So, but I did like the mashups. I I like the story a little bit better. I don't know. It was something I liked Idina Menzel's character, and I understood kind of like her motivation, and you got that. I don't know, it was just weird. Like she wasn't necessarily this horrible stepmother, but still I don't know. What do you think? I'm having a hard time actually killing that.
No, she was a realistic stepmother. You could tell like she wasn't like the other Cinderella stepmothers where like she had forced her to stay in the basement or anything like that. It wasn't even necessarily like when she stopped her from going to the dance. One of the reasons was because she was going to outshine her stepsisters, but also rather than kind of locking her in the basement or the cellar like they've done in the previous movies, it was just, oh, you've been spoken for. Like he came and he spoke, he wanted your hand in marriage, so you don't have to go, you don't have to see anybody there. But yeah, so you could tell like I think this was the first stepmother that truly like you could tell cared and was just giving her a realistic view of what she needed in order to survive. Like you were not going to survive on your own by yourself because I'd never seen a woman do it. So you needed a man in order to make sure that you were good for life. So I liked her character. I think she was a realistic stepmother, unlike just hating her just to hate her.
Yeah. I that's a good way to describe it. Kind of helped me figure out. Um, I agree with the sense that you get that it wasn't just her disdain for her didn't come from just maliciousness and malice. Maybe came from not necessarily understanding her, and not necessarily, it played into that old parts of it played into the old stereotypical trope where I treat you less than, which I have a problem with. But I get the story that they were trying to tell, and like you said, she definitely was not as bad as some of the previous stepmothers and different versions of Cinderella. But and also the scene that they shared, and I don't know what song it was, but the scene that they shared when she explained to her why she was so hard on her, um, about how she once wanted to play piano and her husband wouldn't let her. So it kind of, it's like, oh, you can empathize with her, but yet you're still basically forcing her into this marriage. And, that kind of, I was like, oh, because I thought once she empathized that she would, kind of turn around and have an about face about forcing her to marry. But I don't know, like, did they not know that the prince had started looking for the woman at the ball at that time, or did they leave before they knew that?
Um, oh, you mean like to find out like it was actually Cinderella?
Yeah, like, because she knew she was Cinderella. Like when she saw the glass slipper, she knew she was Cinderella. But was it based on their conversation where she said that she didn't want that life, that she wanted to go pursue her dream as a dressmaker?
Oh no,
Um,
she knew she was the one who was with the prince.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. At that particular point, did they not know that the prince had started looking for Cinderella? Did they still think he was going to marry the other lady, the Loch Ness monster
Well, they
swamp?
knew that he was looking for the glass slipper because the court jester or whatever his name was, the DJ, had announced it by then in the town.
Okay.
So they
So
knew
that
that he was looking for the one with the glass slipper.
Okay, and that was that conversation they had in the basement where she was like, "No, I don't." Oh yeah, because she got really excited and said he's looking for you, and then she was like, "Well, no, it's never gonna work because I want to do this." And then that's when she was determined to marry her off to whatever his name was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure I have that right. Yeah. So, did you have another favorite song? The soundtrack overall was really good. I love the way that and that was one of my favorite things about Pitch Perfect is I love the mashups.
Yeah, no, they did a really, really great job on the singing, on the mashups, the songs that they chose. I thought were really, really good songs that they chose that really worked out well with the different scenes. I like the storyline too. Like I really enjoyed the movie. I thought they did a good job on it. I'm not gonna say like it's Oscar worthy or it's like up there, but it was definitely an enjoyable movie. Like I had a friend who it's so hard to find movies that she likes. She's such a difficult person to like go to the movies with because it's very very rare that she was like, oh, I really want to see that. So but she's the one that told me to watch it. I'd already watched it by the point, But even she was just like, yo, did you watch Cinderella yet? You need to watch Cinderella. And I was just like, oh yeah, I already watched it. And she was like, it was good. And I was just like, okay, that's like a stamp of approval because it's so difficult to find a movie you like. So that's why I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna tell people to watch this. I'm definitely recommended watching Cinderella.
Oh, well, I yeah, I would say it's cute. Would I recommend it? Yeah,
Especially for people who have kids. I think kids will enjoy it.
yeah, I think so too. And I, like I said, it caught me by surprise. I was prepared to just absolutely hate it because it was because of the musical. I wasn't really sure what how they would pull it off. Um, I do wish Billy Porter, just because he's Billy Porter, had more of a role, but I realized the fairy godmother or the fab godmother isn't the star of the movie. But um, yeah, it was cute overall. Anything else about this movie that stood out to you?
Mm-hmm. Wait, hold on. Because I actually really enjoyed this. Let me say. Um, no. No, we talked about the parents, we talked about the sister, um, the friends, which I do think like a cliche and a great ending would have been if like the two best friends, like the two ones who were sitting behind him when he was having his marriage meeting, would have ended up with her stepsisters.
Yeah, that would have been cute.
That would have been cute if they had ended up with her sisters, or like the scene where her sister asks like, am I pretty? And that like I loved like the reassurances within it. She was just like, I mean, but who am I? Like, you're pretty. I think you're pretty, but do you think you're pretty? And she was like, yeah, I'm pretty. And I was just like, oh, that's so cute. But yeah.
Yeah, I did like that part, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I get the stepmother thing, and I get it's kind of, you have to have it to be serviceable to the story, but I also think maybe it would have worked better for me if they had completely modernized it, like made it instead of a country, made it a company or something, and him not wanting to take over the company to help her go start her own fashion company or something like that. I don't know. I just think it would have worked better if they would have done a completely modern take, even with the music, just bringing it up into modern times. I
They
think that
had
would have
modern
served.
time Cinderella stories.
I know, but they're not they're not as interesting to me, or they haven't been. I think this one probably could have been a better one, maybe. Like I said, there's really nothing new under the sun. They're all just different reimaginings of different tropes and different things. And like you said, we've had millions of modern Cinderella stories without them ever being called Cinderella. But I think, again, this one probably could have been a little better, in my opinion. Or for me, I would have liked it better if it were brought up to completely modern times. And like I said, instead of the company just going, him leaving the family company behind and starting something of his own. Because even though, for once, the guy gives up his life to service to help her accomplish her dreams, I still don't like the fact that he had to give up everything just for her. Like, it still goes to show, it still goes to that, oh, if you want to be in love, or if you want to have love, somebody is going to lose out on something that they want. Like, someone has to give up and walk away completely from their life in order to support the other person. So that's the first time I've been able to articulate that all day. I tried writing that down so many times, but that's the one thing that kind of got me crazy. Not that he gave up being king, but the fact that he gave up his whole life just to go follow her around the world without anything of his own.
He
So
could have
I don't
stayed
know.
behind.
Maybe in the sequel he would figure it out. But he needs to
People
have
in
his
the
own thing,
sequels.
because eventually, look, now I'm turning into you, because realistically, eventually he would begin to resent her, because and she would begin to resent him because he has nothing to do. And then in the divorce, he's
Exactly.
gonna
So
take
he should
off.
have stayed his behind. He should have stayed behind, been chilling out, and wait for her to come back. They could have had a long distance relationship.
because she was like, and this is his, and she's like, why do we need to define it?
Yeah, would be like, what is she? Be like, I mean, like, I love her, like my girl. I'm just like your girlfriend. Like, can we just throw our girlfriend here? Like, something, something.
And she's like, why do we have to define it? And so, but it was just like, yeah. And she's like, his love, his true love. But yeah. So anyway, how would you rate Cinderella?
I'm gonna rate Cinderella a 3. No, a 3.25.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
rate it a 3.25. I did enjoy it. It was cute. It was adorable. Did not disappoint. Music was great. Some little things that just didn't sit right with me. But overall, I enjoyed it. 3.25. That's actually pretty good. Way better than the last couple ones that we've done.
Yeah, I'm rated a 2.5, a 2.5. 2.5 popcorns. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was cute. It was there. It was something to do while I folded clothes, I think, or I was putting together something.
Dang,
Of
you
course,
saying that Kissing Booth was better than that?
did I rate Kissing Booth higher than
You
that?
did.
Oh no! And you know what? Now that you brought that up, I remember I was rating Kissing Booth based on the whole series. Like I remember that distinctly. I was saying it was for love of the series, um, and it was better than the second one. But yeah, I might have to revisit some of these ratings. But yeah, it was two. I'll give this one a solid 2.5. 2.5 popcorns. It was serviceable. It was cute. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. I would recommend it, especially if people have kids. If you're just in a mood for something different, something that you can just kind of tune out and watch, then this would probably be a great movie for that.
All right.
All right, so that does it for this week's episode of the Extra Butter, smooth like butter, criminal undercover. Okay, one day you're gonna join in with me on a course.
I will never join in on that.
I'm actually going to rework the lyrics and fit it in for our needs here. And uh, would you sing it with me then?
Absolutely not. You on your own.
And we can create a TikTok video for it
You're
and
on your
everything.
own. You know I would not create no TikTok video. Come on now.
Tammy, I'm gonna need you to step outside of yourself and entertain the audience and help me and create a song. Okay, so you won't do the song with me. You won't do a TikTok. I cannot get my sound effect. That's more things I'm adding to the lawsuit. It's okay. Wait till you get that sentence.
We're gonna go all the way to the Supreme Court. I already told you
And
that.
I told you, Keg Stand Kavanaugh, he gonna take the case, girl. This is right up his alley. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also leave us comments on the website and keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at the popcornwinddown.com. That's it. That's the plug. This is the place where we will soon be inserting my Supreme Court ordered sound effect. But until then, pop, 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 pop. That's it. That's the plug. And thank you as always. And be sure to join us next time on Smooth Like Butter, Criminal Undercover. And until then, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.